Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bwana asifiwe to my fellow viewers who are Christian. Today we are going to talk about this issue which is affecting both the Christians and the Muslim. Today's topic of the day is about tithes or tenth. Tithe or tenth, 10%. It has made African in poverty. This is the question why we ask ourselves this question. Why are African are giving 10% of the tithe, but they are still remaining in poverty? Their lives, they are still struggling with life. This is what we should ask ourselves of today. And I have done my research, both the Bible and the Quran, how tithe was supposed to be given. In the beginning, if you go to the Bible, the book of Leviticus 27 verse 30 to 34, it directs us the tithe were for the land produce, not work profession. If you read that chapter, you will hear the Lord telling the Israelites that let's give your first produce in the land to the Lord. It was not a profession. If you are an electrician, if you are a plumber, if you are a computer technician, if you are a secretary, if you are an accountant, these are profession, not produce from the land. If you read the book of Leviticus, I repeat again, Leviticus 27 verse 30 to 34. Note it down in your pen, because this topic is very important. That's why we African will remain in poverty, and we should learn this poverty by knowing the truth. Because the tithe, God was the one who commanded the people of Israel to give tithe. And what were the tithes for? Another question you should ask yourself: what was tithe for? The tithe was for the Levites. The Levites were the God-chosen people who devoted to God's work. When God was starting Israel, there were 12 tribes of Israel, and each tribe was given a work to do. Upon the 12 tribes of Israel, the only one tribe was chosen to do God's work, which was the Levites. All the Levites were supposed to do God's work, not like nowadays. We have pastors, we have different deacons, but that era, God started a tribe called Israel, and the Israelites have 12 tribes. The 11 tribes were supposed to work, and they were the people who are giving the tithe to the Levites, because the Levites were doing the job for the Lord. If you read the Numbers chapter 35, you'll find what was the work of the Levites in God's command. The Levites were doing God's work. They were living in the temple and nearby cities which were in Israel. And the Levites, Numbers chapter 18 verse 28, the Levites, when they have received the tithe from the 11 tribes of Israel, they were supposed to support their priest, who was Aaron, which was chosen by God, because Aaron was chosen as a priest in the family of the Levite. Now the Levite, after receiving the tithe, they give that tenth to the priest to support the priest family, because the priest was the one interceding on behalf of the Israelites for the Levites. The Levites was receiving the tithe. Then the tithe which they receive, they support their priest, who was a Levite. That's how the system was. But this Levite, you were told they were not owning any property, not like nowadays. Pastors nowadays have schools, they have wholesale retailers, they have big vehicles, they have many businesses. But the Israelites, the priest was not supposed to own anything. It was to serve God, but to seek support from the Levites who are devoted to God. Deuteronomy 14:22, the tithe was given without fail. The tithe was given, it was a commandment, it was given without fail. You give it to the Israelites which are around your neighborhood. And it was given without fail. Tithe was given to the widows, fatherless, children which are fatherless, foreigners, and poor to be filled. Now the tithe was given to these Levites who are poor, fatherless, widows. Not like nowadays, you give to the pastors, but they buy new cars, they open big shops, they open supermarkets, they own many property. But those who are giving the tithe, those who give tithe are lavish in poverty. And now the modern tithing system, the tithe should not be given because if you read Hebrews 7, Jesus, Paul writing a letter to the Gentiles that everyone is a priest. Now the laws that were for the old priests have changed because we have new priesthood who is Jesus, and Jesus is the priest, has made everyone to be a priest, not a priest who was a family priest, not a priest who was among the tribe of Levite. Now today, let's learn this thing. Nowadays, tithe should not be given to anyone, any priest, to any pastor, but to know that a tithe was supposed to be given to the Levite and the family priest who was a Levite, who was Aaron. Because the laws has been changed of priesthood. Now the tithe should not be given. But giving a sadaka should be given. That one I cannot refuse. It should be given. Because Jesus said that the one who give in his heart has fulfilled God's command. Today, let's learn that tithe was meant for the Levite, and the Levites were not working; they were living in the temple. They were devoted to God's work, not they were owning anything. If you read these verses which I have outlined out, you'll find that tithe was for the Levite, and the Levite were not doing any job. Thank you for subscribing for my channel, for viewing my topics. May God bless you as we continue giving you more education on how to bring our moral society and upright society, because this story of religion has confused many African people. Let's change our ways of living. May God bless you as we continue with our next episode.